Happy Independence Day, July 4th, 2022. My name is Rob Carr of Kalamazoo Right to Life, and this is Pro-Life Week. Well, I could spend the next 10 or 15 minutes just repeating or chronicling what the pro-abortion folks have been saying, whether they're coming from Congress or from mainstream media or print journalism or the pro-abortion groups. They're all just over the top. It's just nonstop, hyperbolic rhetoric, just crazy stuff. And what gets me is that the Dobbs decision did not outlaw abortion. It just did not do it. It just returned the issue to the states. And I guess that's the first thing I want to mention. Some of these people have said things like, "This is the end of democracy." One guy on MSNBC said over the weekend that this was a reign of terror that the Supreme Court was inflicting on the American people, a reign of terror. But going back to this issue of democracy, between 1967 and 1972, most states in the country did deal with the issue of abortion reform. Most state legislators proposed bills that would modestly change the laws, usually to permit abortion for rape or incest, for fetal deformity. A lot of states had residency requirements where you had to live in the state for 90 days to get a hospital-approved abortion. But these were very limited proposals. But then in 1970, 4 states, Alaska, Hawaii, Washington State, and New York State, completely repealed their pro-life laws and made abortion on demand permanent. But in the other 13 states, abortion was very limited to just the hard cases: rape, incest, fetal deformity, the life of the mother. So I guess my question is, in 1973, when Roe was decided, 17 states had reformed or repealed their laws. And 33 states maintained their strict pro-life, anti-abortion laws that had been on the books for some of these states back to the 1850s. So I guess my question is, who was being democratic in 1973 when the Supreme Court basically told 33 states, you have no say, you have no right. We're going to give the 4 states, really the 4 states that had repealed their laws, we're going to give them the right to dictate on all 50 states. So does that sound democratic? It doesn't sound democratic to me. So all the Dobbs decision did was return the issue back to the states. So like I've said before, Oklahoma and in Ohio maybe, and Wisconsin and West Virginia, some of these conservative states could ban abortions. And liberal states like New York and Illinois and California can have very liberal laws, abortion on demand, basically up to the moment of birth. But so that's kind of where I stand on the issue of democracy. If you want pure democracy, then majority should rule. So the 33 should have held sway on the court, but they didn't. The court just rammed Roe v. Wade down the throats and the backs of American citizens. And Americans, we had no choice but to comply. No choice at all. So I saw in the news today that Operation Rescue has conducted an investigation since the Dobbs decision, and they have found that 49 abortion clinics have either halted operations or closed their doors completely. And that's absolutely amazing that in this short span of time between the Dobbs decision and now, 49 clinics have closed their doors. And I just want to give you a list, the breakdown of which states are seeing these closures. And many of these states actually have become abortion-free states, which is another wonderful development. So in the state of Alabama, 4 clinics closed, and it's now an abortion-free state. Arkansas had 2 abortion clinics close, and they are an abortion-free state. Arizona, there were 4 closures. Georgia had 1 closure. Kentucky had 2 closures, and now Kentucky is an abortion-free state. Michigan had 1 closure. Missouri had 1 closure, and I think that was in the seat of St. Louis, and that is now an abortion-free state. Ohio, get this, Ohio had 10 abortion clinics close their doors since the Dobbs decision. South Carolina, 3 closures. Tennessee had 3 abortion clinics close. And Texas had 14 abortion clinics close their doors. Praise the Lord for that. Wisconsin had 4 closures, and they're now an abortion-free state. And Wyoming had 1 closure, and that is now an abortion-free state. And those states I just mentioned can be added to 3 other states that had already become abortion-free: Oklahoma, South Dakota, and West Virginia. And then I saw too in the news that this past Thursday, the U.S. Supreme Court stepped in and told 3 lower federal courts that they need to reconsider their decisions in light of the Dobbs decision. Because in the states of Arkansas and, I've got to find my notes here, Arkansas, Arizona, and Indiana, the court stepped in and blocked enforcement of their state's pro-life law that would take effect after Dobbs was decided. So the court stepped in and said, whoa, you can't do that. And they put a block on it. Well, the Supreme Court stepped in and said, no, you courts, you can't do that because we have decided that the right and the privilege and the responsibility has now been granted to the state legislatures. And if the legislature has passed pro-life laws, you need to reconsider your decision in light of Dobbs. So that's great news too. It looks like on many fronts, the pro-abortion movement is running scared. At least I would say that. We are on the move. We are being far more aggressive in pushing pro-life legislation. And, I've said before, and I'll probably be saying it many times again, the Dobbs decision was a mixed bag. I mean, it did not overturn abortion. It did not declare the unborn baby a person based on the 14th Amendment. It did not. It did not grant personhood status for babies in the womb. It just did not do it. All the court did was remove it from the federal judiciary and said, basically, that they said, it's not ours to call. We're going to give this issue back to the states and let them make their decisions. Because if the citizens want abortion, that they will elect legislators who agree with them. And if there are enough pro-life citizens in these states who want to pass pro-life laws, well then, elections matter. And if the majority of state legislators are pro-life and they pass pro-life laws, well, that's the way it's going to be. That's just the way it's going to be. And many of these pro-life laws are going to be very strict. and many of them will ban abortions to the point of conception. So with that, I'm going to let you go so you can enjoy the rest of your holiday festivities. But in just a few days, on July 11th, the pro-abortion people in Michigan who've been pushing this petition drive are going to have to submit their petition forms to the State Board of Canvassers. And they need to get about 550,000 signatures so they can get their required number of valid signatures to get this thing on the ballot. So there's just a few days left for these people. So if you are approached, remember, what do you say? No, don't sign that petition. Don't sign it. You know how bad it would be. If it passes in the state in November, every single pro-life law will be, that's been enacted in the last 40 years, will be banned and repealed. And we cannot let that happen. We cannot let our Michigan Constitution guarantee abortion rights up to viability. We can't do it. After the Dobbs decision especially, we should not be doing this, period. With that, I'll let you go, and I'll see you next time.